Om. Om. Sahana vavatu, sahana bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavadhitamastu, ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May the Lord protect us. May He nourish us. May we acquire the capacity to study and understand the scriptures. May our study be brilliant, and may we not cavil at each other. Om, peace, peace, peace unto us all. Dear brothers and sisters, loving Sai Ram to all of you. We welcome everyone to the Sri Sathya Sai Baba Center of Arcadia, and we are going to do the study circle now on Gita Vahini, and we are going to do chapter 14. And you received the soft copy, the email, and there the page 63. And on the hard copy, which you have, the one version I have, is page 126, where we start with the last paragraph. Then Arjuna intervened. So we'll start from the main points we discussed last week. So actually, I want to say one thing. We should always have somebody said, the attitude of gratitude. Swami says gratitude is very, very important. Even he quoted one time in Aditya Hridayam, there is where the worship of living visible divinity, which is Lord Surya, sun god, who you see every day. Others, Rama, you need to imagine, Krishna, you need to imagine, Jesus and Buddha. But here, every day you see. So that's why worshipped by Rama himself, and Swami gave importance. There, one of the things he says, the Tugnaya Kritagnaya Namo Namaha. So he says, yeah, he destroys people who have negative qualities and people who don't have gratitude. Swami says people who don't have gratitude, they will be blind in their next life. They will have eye problems. So because the sun god is the presiding deity for vision, that is why people who are supposed to have problems with their vision, they have seen many cases where they worship the sun god and their vision improves and they restore their vision. Many others health problems too, like skin and heart. So he says, Swami says, emphasize the gratitude. What should be gratitude? Number one, we should be gratitude we are alive today and we are able to get together. That is only by Swami's grace. Swami says to have the satsang, be in the satsang, only by the grace of God it happens. There will be some excuse, we'll be busy at work, held up in the traffic, or some health issues, family problem, work problems. So we need the grace of God. Don't think just because we drive, we put the effort that is necessary, but it's the grace of God to be able to have satsang where you come and share God's love, God's work, and sing His glory. So always, Sri Ramakrishna used to that, be grateful and pray. He used to pray the Divine Mother Kali, please always let me have this opportunity to hold on to your lotus feet, hold on to you. Because if you lose the grace, you lose Him. Actually, I don't know how many remember the story. Any of you remember then one of the things about this devotee of Swami. Swami was paying a lot of attention to him. He was close to Swami. Swami paying attention to him and his family. And then, but this man, everything was good, but he was a chain smoker, loud smoking, continuously, like Agnihotra, they always put that. So then the family said, wife pleaded, son said, dad. So he was in Swami's college studying. And then this The boy said, Swami, please, you help. My dad doesn't listen to stop smoking. So he is doing that. So he didn't listen. Then Swami also said, but still this guy said, anyway, Swami is talking to me, it doesn't matter. Then one day Swami called. If you continue to do this, so if you come even for darshan, I won't look at you. I won't talk to you. Finally, Swami won't put a bomb. You won't be able to even think of me. You will forget my name and me itself. You cannot think. So to show, to be able to think of God and His name, you need His grace. So He can withdraw the grace. So we need to continue to pray that we have His grace, to think about Him, do His work, be together in the holy company. So suddenly that thought came, I want to tell. So anyway, last week, I think probably I want somebody to volunteer each time instead of me summarizing what did we discuss last week, major points at least. Is there anybody who is here volunteer? At least I will tell from next week onwards. So please tell at least 3, 4, you don't need to be much, 4 or 5 points. So I will summarize. Main point is because this should be going to our heart. Number one is that Swami says we should be clear about the goal of life. What is that? Is God realization. To be attain liberation or self-realization. Any of those words you use, that is the purpose of life. It should be clear goal. Like when you get to med school, you want to become a doctor. When you join some sports, you want to top more. Similarly, in life, when we enter, the goal should be clear. We are God realization. Second thing is always be in bliss, eternal bliss, and no suffering. Is there anybody who doesn't want that? So everybody, when she says she's sneezing, confirming that. So we all want to be, the whole purpose of life is we want to be happy, including the ants, birds, bees, everybody wants to, that's the nature, our nature is ananda. So we want to be happy and away from grief. But the only problem is we are looking for some place where we are not going to get it. So it is more within. So that is what Swami said. Number one goal is realization of God, liberation. Second is cessation of grief and attainment of eternal bliss. That is called in scripture Atyantika Dukha Nivrutti. That means complete cessation. And Niravadika Samprapti, Ananda Prapti. Well, all of us have some pleasure, but it is the interval between two pains. If there is there, then again you forget the good food, good things. So continuously, these people are in bliss, like these great yogis and Mahatmas, irrespective of what is outside, they're in bliss. So that is the purpose. So then he also said, how do you attain that? Because we all are bhaktas. He says 4 types of bhaktas. What are the 4 types? So people are arthas who cry to God in distress when they have pain, health, or suffering, anything. And then arthatis. They pray to God for some benefit. They want promotion, job, get their wife, son or daughter married. They want to have grandchildren, or they want to get promotion, job, or get a good profit in the business. For any other reason, these are all arthatis. They have some desires in mind. And third is Jijnasu, who are spiritual inquiry. What's the purpose of life? At least they are better. They want to know why are we here in this on this planet. They want to know the purpose. But the final important, the greatest one is like Jnani, because he is the nearest and dearest to the Lord. So then how to get that? Then he is completely out of grief. He is always in bliss. So for that, Lord Krishna said, whoever completely surrenders to me, whoever thinks of me, he will be in eternal bliss. Then he uses certain words. That's why he says, then he will understand what is Brahman, what is karma, what is adhyatmika, and then they know adhyatmika, adibhautika, adidaivika, adiyajna, then they will come to me. He put so many nomenclature, so many things. Arjuna, most of the people listen, yeah, it's okay, there is it. But he doesn't leave. Arjuna is a good student. He wants to know, what are you talking about? You are telling you all these words, Adidaivika, Adibhautika, Adhyatmika. explain to me, please, what does it mean? Because if you want to merge with God, you should know all the aspects. That is what it is in the chapter 7, where we are doing the Jnana Vijnana Yogam. Then to answer that, the next one, he starts in Akshara Parabrahma Yoga. That is where I want you to start, that is, so that you can connect. That is where we are going to start today, where Swami is going to talk about that. So you can start. Then Arjuna intervened. He was questioned. He said, you will have grief. No more grief. Okay, how do you do that? So that's question. So whatever in your discussion also, if you don't understand, we need to have discussion. What do you mean by that? What does Swami say that I don't follow? Then we'll have better understanding. Otherwise, it becomes passive listening. That means we are really not paying attention. So we need to have active listening where we try to understand it so that we can incorporate it in our life so that we get benefited. It is not like reading a novel or something like that. This is a practical life lessons they give Lord Krishna. That too is Bhagavad Gita. Let me tell you, the people who talk about it, the people listen, Lord Krishna assures they're both blessed. There are many Gitas. I don't know how many of you know. Avadhuta Gita is there. And then Dattatreya, is the one who gives Uddhava Gita is there. Rama Gita is there. Ashtavakra Gita is there. Good. So they're all called the name, but only one thing is called Bhagavad Gita. It's only Bhagavan, Lord himself has said, is only this Bhagavad Gita. Others have different, Ashtavakra Gita, Avadhuta Gita, and Rama Gita, like that, Avadhuta Gita. So we are blessed to have Bhagavad Gita commented by Bhagavan himself, Lord Sai. So we'll continue on that page 128, 126, I'm sorry. Then Arjuna intervened.
Sairam. Arjuna intervened. Krishna, he said, cannot such men attain you? You say that grief must be conquered before one can attain you. Well, what is the origin of that grief? How is it to be tackled? How does it arise? How can one try to overcome it without knowing its origin and course of development? Please, tell me how this grief arises in the human mind. Listen, Arjuna, Krishna condescended to reply. The source of all types of sorrow is ignorance, ajnana. You might ask me now, what is the source of ajnana? I shall tell you. It is the identification with the body, the delusion that you are the body. This can be removed only by the acquisition of right knowledge. To remove darkness, light is what is needed. You cannot frighten it away, nor can you make it yield by prayer or petition or protest. Unless light is on, darkness will not disappear, howsoever you may try. So too, ajnana will not disappear by merely wishing for disappearance. Once you understand the nature and ramifications of this trait, this ajnana, the truth will be laid bare and grief will vanish. When ajnana goes, grief too goes. So attach yourself to me and earn the light of true knowledge and tread the path of no grief, said Krishna. Immediately, Arjuna interjected, Krishna, you were saying till now of certain paths by which we can reach you. Now, at the end of it all, if you throw this cannonball, how can I ever grasp its meaning? You did not confer as a preliminary a little power to do so. Please, therefore, make me happy by describing this point in greater detail, so that I might follow you better and attain you. Krishna replied, "My dear brother-in-law, listen. My mystery can be understood once you are clear about the meaning of Brahman, Adhyatmam, Karma, Adibhutam, Adidaivam, and Adiyagnam. Let me tell you this also. Whoever understands my mystery attains me. Then, O Lord, tell me about the first of these, Brahman," exclaimed Arjuna. Arjuna, Aksharam Brahma Paramam. Brahman is referred to as the Akshara, which is Param. Akshara means without kshara or destruction, indestructible. Brahman comes from a root, which means big, vast, etc. How vast, you may ask? Vaster than whatever you call vast. That is the answer. The word akshara has another meaning also. It means omnipresent, eminent everywhere. Brahman is not mere aksharam, as you will have noticed. It is param aksharam. What does that mean? It is the type of akshara which is beyond the reach of time and space and knowability. It cannot be known by any or all the categories. It never declines or ends. It is param aksharam, the highest, indestructible, indescribable. So I'll stop there. So this, to me, was a very, very important part of the conversation documented in Bhagavad Gita. I think in the beginning, Arjuna is asking Lord Krishna, okay, we're not supposed to, you're telling us that we need to expand beyond grief and all of these things. How do we do that? Well, you don't identify as this body. What identifying with that body does to us is we label things. So we actually label the body, right? Doctor, lawyer, pretty, handsome, rich, poor. I mean, you have all of these labels and you attach to the labels. So when you attach to a label, you attach to a result. If the result does not happen in the way that you're hoping for, or you're wanting or praying for in a lot of ways, it's when you experience grief. I wanted to talk a little bit about grief because I think this comes up quite often in Bhagavad Gita, how rising above grief is how we attain that closeness, and being aware of the omnipresence of the Lord is how we really attain that liberation. So probably everyone has kind of gone through some level of grief, but it's really defined as a complex emotional response to a kind of loss. Usually that loss is something within the physical world. It can be obviously a loved one. We've just had, in the last couple of months, we had these really destructive wildfires where a lot of people lost their homes and lost their livelihoods. And that causes a lot of grief. And I don't know how many people are familiar with Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. She's a psychiatrist who studied grief in folks who were in the process of dying and leaving this world. And she said that grief kind of comes in different stages. So the first stage we have is denial. Obviously, you're kind of in shock. You're in denial of what has happened. And then you have anger. A lot of people might be irritable or might talk in a certain way, but many times it's probably an expression of grief. After that anger, you go into bargaining, and that's probably when a lot of times we'll pray with Swami. Okay, Swami, if I do these things, if I go to the temple every day and pay alms, or if I do these things, will you please give me this? And then after that, maybe the next stage would be depression, where really it's sort of that sadness that comes with loss. But after that depression, when you realize that there's this, whatever this is not going to come back, then there's this point of acceptance. And that's probably where we reach that attainment that everything is Swami's plan, and Swami has a hand in everything, and we just have to trust and surrender that we will be taken care of. I also kind of looked up a discourse because I was interested in what Swami specifically says about grief. What he was saying is that whenever we experience grief, it actually brings us closer to God. So it's sort of a necessary, kind of like the Buddha attaining nirvana. It's all a necessary part of the spiritual journey to get to that place of liberation. And I love this description. Is everyone familiar with the definitions of the Adi Bhutyam, Adi Daivam?
He's going to explain. So
okay, because I have them too, but I'll let him explain.
So because he's going to ask one by one.
Yeah.
He asks, what is it? And he explains. So Swami tells that. Then you can add your commentary.
Okay.
So he asks those 7 questions, and he answers one by one details. Swami explains that. Also, it is there. So it is something where otherwise it is succinct. You can just give 1 or 2 lines, but it need to be detailedly explained. The next 2-3 pages, a chapter is whole about explaining those 7 terms. The experience. So like I said, you use the terms, and Arjuna is sincere seeker asks, what do you mean by that? If you understand, then you will be with me. So let us focus what you have just discussed. Very good point you said. Grief is part of life. Everybody has. That is what Lord Buddha, one of the noble truths, what he said. Kshenikam dukkham. Dukkham, dukkham, kshenikam. This whole world is, we all see that it is temporary. What it was yesterday, people lose the house, lose the body, everything. So you need to realize the truth. People don't want to even face that we are going to die. Nobody wants to talk about death. Swami says you should always remember death. Dukkham, kshenikam. So this is Lord Buddha said. It is temporary and feel pain. And even Lord Krishna, 2 places, anityam, asukham lokam. Anityam. Anityam means temporary. Asukham. It is no sukham, no thing. And another place he says, Lord Krishna, dukkhalayam ashashwatam. Dukkhalayam means it is the house of sorrow. It is like alayam is temple of sorrow. Ashashwatam. So some of the time the great masters emphasize a point, he tell twice, so that it sinks into it. It's not, because most of the time we get carried away. That is the greatest things in Yaksha Prashnas. Dharmaraju, Yudhishthira was asked, what is the most mysterious thing? The most mysterious thing is we see everybody dying in front of us. It could be our parents, or Kirtan kin, our friends, our children, even some people, their own kid. But still, you think you are permanent. You don't think you are dying. Because that is the truth. Because the body is going to die, but you are not going to die. That is why we don't believe that we die. Because that Atma is eternal. Because when we see, but you should wake up. When you think you are not permanent, you should wake up and be good, because that is what the whole purpose. So grief is a wake-up call. That is why whole Bhagavad Gita, what was the first chapter's name? What is the first chapter's name? Vishada Yoga. He started with sorrow. Vishada means sorrow. So of all the things, he started with sorrow. The first yoga in Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, first yoga is Vishada Yoga. And the last is, once you go through all this, moksha sannyasa, you'll get liberation and this renunciation. So why was Vishada? Because Arjuna is sad about attachment with his kith and kin. He actually is such a great hero. He cries, he sheds tears, collapses on the floor. So this is when you turn towards God. Most of the people, like those 2 categories, artha, arthatis, when they are in distress or something, what you turn to God. So people like Dhruva, that's a desire. Who by nature love for love's sake, there won't be too many. You all start with desires and finally end up with jnani. And here he says, what is the title Swami says we should get? Last week we talked about. At least these things we should in our mind imprinted. That Shrunvanti Vishye Amrutasya Putraha. Last week we talked about it. Don't remember that? That is the title we should all get. Not BA, MA, PhD, MD, MBA. We talked about it. Amrutasya putra. We are children of immortality. That is what we should get. How do we become children of immortality? Removal of immorality. Swami Swami makes it very important. But the whole grief Swami is talking about, this also we should dive deep into the ajnana, ignorance. This is I shared before, but I want to say for the sake of some other people. So one time I was with Swami, this was 40 years ago. So I said, Swami gave a discourse on Shirdi Baba, his previous avatar, I think about 10 days. And this, so I know Telugu, and Swami gave it in Telugu. I wanted to translate in English. And then I wanted to ask Swami, Swami, I want to do some service. What do you want to do? I said, I want to translate this into English. That would be a great service to people. Swami says, that is not service. But okay, Swami says, what is service then, Swami? To know who you are, that is the greatest service. I know it is good to give sandwiches, good to give the water, good to build homes and temples and all that. But the greatest service, Swami says, like Ramana, know who you are. Swami clearly told me. I said, Swami, that is a very difficult path. I don't, I expressed the challenge because self-inquiry, who you are, I am not this body, where you are, you are that. So it is really needs very intense inquiry and austerity. Swami says, no, then there is the example. He says, a cave may be dark for thousands of years, say 10,000 years, right? It is very dark. Somebody enters with a candlelight, a mastic puts a light. How long does it take the darkness to go away? Instantly it goes away, right? It doesn't take thousands of years to go away. The minute the light comes, the darkness is just like that gone. Similarly, we thinking we are the body in this ignorance, we may have many lifetimes. Swami says, that's why he says, be positive, it is not difficult. So the minute the dawn of knowledge comes, that minute you are enlightened. So the another example Swami gives, in the night we are dreaming and a tiger is chasing us. All scared, tiger is chasing, we are about to be killed. So then you want to take somebody's help or shoot it or something. But which is the easiest and best way to get rid of the tiger? The minute we wake up, the whole thing is gone. There is no more tiger, no more attack. The minute you wake up, that whole thing is gone, right? During the dream, it is there. The tiger is chasing you, that, this, and the minute you wake up, same thing. We are all dreaming this whole thing. This life, Swami says, life is a dream, realize it. So the minute we wake up from this dream, which all these great masters came to show, then you are in the belief, hey, this is all a dream. This is not really true. So that is the whole thing, wake up call that God gives. So then you can live. Once you realize that it is not, life is a dream, Swami says, think about it. Life is a dream, realize it. We need to realize it. We really feel that it's the dream. Then once you do that, we'll be in the state of bliss. That is why the important is how to get rid of this ajnana. So that's why the minute ajnana goes away, the grief goes away. Then he gives all these things. Ajnana is nothing. Another example people say in Advaitins particularly, that is called Rajju Sarpa Bhranti. You might have heard, right? So there is a dusk which is not complete, and there is a rope there. Because there is not, you say somebody, oh my God, there's a snake, and somebody just shakes and sweats. So how to get rid of that snake? You can come and bring a stick to hit it, or something else, somebody you call. What is the best way to get rid of the snake? You put the light, then you know, my God, there is not a snake. There is just a rope. I was thinking it is a snake. It is not a snake, it is a rope. So similarly, because you are mistakenly thinking it is rope, the minute the truth knows that where did the snake disappear? Where was it before? It was never there before. And you projected it, and where did it go? It was because it is where it in the, that is the delusion it came. Similarly, because we are thinking we are the body any number of times, you tell you it won't go till with the dawn of knowledge. This is very profound, ultimate truth, doesn't easily come. But it says by divine grace comes. Go on practicing these things, then it will come. So that is the very profound statement Swami is making, that whole thing is ajnana should go, because that is why he says ultimate thing, everything na jnanena sadrusham. Last week, 2 weeks back, we said there is nothing equal to jnana, because once you know the truth, that is the whole thing, then all these things disappear, because we are in this confusion, delusion, ignorance, and dream. So that is the, I want first to expand what we have done. If anybody has any comments on that, if not, then you can proceed.
I was just going to say, I love the metaphor of the dream, because the dream is really temporary, because everything ultimately is temporary, except for the Atmic consciousness. And then this idea of waking up from it. So when we wake up, we realize what's permanent, and that this thing, maybe, thinking that we saw a snake when it's a rope, all of it is very temporary. But I think one of the things you had mentioned before when we discussed that is when you're in the darkness like that, a lot of times you have a lot of different emotions. So fear comes up. And so sometimes when you see something like that in the darkness, in any kind of darkness, and darkness is also a bit of a metaphor because can be a state of mind too, then you're always going to see the worst case scenario because of your fear. But then when you understand that the light will come and will show you what the truth is and what's there, that's really kind of going towards that path.
Because the fear is because of the wrong perception, because that person did it. In India, I remember when I was a kid, going to be, oh, that person, he saw a ghost jumped on him, killed. Because he has imagination under the tree, maybe there will be some ghost. There was never a ghost. People, then they really want to see there is no ghost there. But that guy, because of the fear, he saw something catching, and there are people who have died. So fear is the greatest killer, because we all have different kind of fears. What are the fears we talked about? Swami said, first, fear of losing youth. So sometimes as we get older, we lose hair, and we lose teeth, we lose the vision, we lose. So fear of losing youth, fear of losing beauty, something happened, and fear of losing wealth. You made money, then you lost profit. Fear of losing wealth, and fear of losing health. That is even more serious. That means you won't be. Fear of losing health, fear of losing your name and fame, reputation people have, and finally the fear of losing your life, death. That is the most greatest fear people is death. Even great say like Parishit, he was a great man, but when he was, even though he had heard Bhagavatam, but still at the end he had that fear of death, because he still thinks he is the body. Till you get rid of that, I'm not this body, then people like saying this smile, because I'm not dying. His body is going, that is part. It is like changing dress, like Lord Krishna says, Vasam sijirnani yada vihaya, like changing the old dress to new. That is good. So one of the Swamis was telling that, and somebody said, like, you want to go the old car running down. If it is then somebody says, okay, you'll get a new car. So somebody similarly a body, then that gave us, how are you sure what kind of car I will get? Ferrari, this, and this, the same thing with the body. What will happen? How will it be? So just people, when they don't understand the analogy, it's just there is one thing. Truth is jatasya hi dhruvam mrutyು. Know the truth that once we are born, we are going to die. There is no doubt. Question of when. Some people childhood, some people middle age, some people old age, and that's all. But it is a sure. But when, even for animals it is there, for plants it is there. So anything which takes a birth, whether it be plant or animal or human, everything, it has go. That is the law of nature. So knowing that, how we best use of the time. That is the whole thing. Swami says time is God. So how you make use of the time. So use it like the satsang, thinking about God, singing His glories. Then slowly it will take you closer to the truth. You had any other thing, comment? Anybody else? So just is open. So I said, any questions didn't? So please feel free to ask. Or do you want to continue?
Well, I was just going to say, I think I remember when we read early on too, one of the things Lord Krishna said to Arjuna is that it is the Atma that's permanent, but because the bodies are temporary, you're not really committing anything bad here because the Atma doesn't die. Only the physical body goes whenever he was really having that conflict as the battle was beginning.
Yeah, that's what he says. There are two important points. He says he was worried he's going to kill his uncles and his teachers, his grandparents, his cousins. They're all his relatives, cousins and grandparents and teachers, Drona, all the people. So he felt very bad. How can I kill my own? You can also imagine somebody, maybe now, how do you feel? So he was despondent, dejected, depressed. So then that is why Lord Krishna is a great teacher and counselor. He says, you are not killing them and they are not killed. Then the problem solved. So you are not, first you are killing and they are not killed. Because you are permanent, they are also permanent. What will go is, these bodies will go. So most of the people won't buy that, but that is what is really happens is, and actually he says, he shows in Vishwarupa Darshanam, you are just an instrument. The famous mantra is Nimitta Matram Bhava Savyasachin. Savyasachin means Arjuna's name. Sabyasachi means he can hit the arrows with both hands, the right hand, left hand. Sabyasachi. That's expert he was. So he says, you are Nimitta Matra. You happen to be there. You are just instrument. And he shows in his Vishnu, they're already killed. I already have killed this Drona. He shows in his this. Even before they really physically killed, he shows in his thing they're already killed. So you happen to just take the credit that you have killed. So already I took care because there's adharma there. I took care. So both are wrong. Number one, you're not killing them and they're not being killed because Atma is cannot be killed, cannot be burned, cannot be wet, and so you cannot divide it. So it is permanent. And second thing is, everything is the doing of God. So just you need to realize that. So those are the very profound truths which he reveals, which applies to all of us. It is not just there. We are all in battle. Everybody is in battle. What kind of battle? We are not in the war, not Ukraine war or anything. Life battle between good and bad. Always we want to do good things. We want to be loving, compassionate, kind, help, and that. And then the evil things come: jealousy, anger, greed, pride, and all these things. They are the demonic forces, bad forces like Kauravas and Pandavas. So the battle is going on. So if you nurture the good things, you will come out being with God, be with God. And if you nurture the negative things, you will be downfall like Duryodhana and all that. So the battle is, that is why some things, Uddhava Gita, they saw, and so many Upanishads, where did they teach? In the forest or in the caves. Where did they teach this Bhagavad Gita? In the middle of battlefield. Can you imagine in the middle of battlefield, you go on to dialogue and Vibhuti Yogam, this and that? Because this is a lesson that we are in the middle of battlefield, and this is a practical thing for anybody in life who is practical how to live the life. That is why it is so much adored by all spiritual seekers. That is very important.
There's also going on, like kind of extending to that, there's a Cherokee legend, some of you may have heard it. There's an elder who's talking to his grandson, and he's telling him, within us, we each have two wolves. One wolf is, goodness, love, kindness, compassion, generosity. The other wolf is anger, jealousy, violence. And they're always at battle. And so the child asks him, which one wins? And the grandfather says, the one that you feed.
Yeah. That is very careful whom you feed. So don't feed the bad wolves with all those negative, because finally they will harm the person who harbors the negative qualities. Because with time and again is proven the people, like the case of, that's why all the scriptures, Mahabharata, where the downfall of Duryodhana and the Kauravas, because they are more physically, had more strength, people more on the side. They had 18 achownis, that means 18 divisions of army, whereas these people had only 7. But What was their strength? Pandavas. Lord Krishna. So once God is on your side, once Dharma is on your side, truth is on your side, temporarily you will go through suffering, but ultimately you should believe that victory is always for truth and Dharma. So we need to hold on, particularly when you are young, you need to remember, am I in the right path or not? So it's Prayomar or Prayomar. Prayomar and Prayomar, Jnana. No. Anybody here? We talked about it 100 times, maybe. Yeah. Prayomar. In life, there are always two choices. This is in Kathopanishad. This Yamadharmaraja tells Nachiketa. So he says, he says, Preyo means which is good for us. Preyo means which is pleasant. Always we have two choices in life. Is it pleasant and which is good? So always we tend to go towards pleasant. Like say we eat nice food, a lot of sweet, a lot of good food, go out and eat, socialize, or partying and all that. Because that is pleasant. So it gives temporary joy for the senses, whether the and there is Shreya mark, which is like you just do meditation, go and do service. So all those things they are not that enjoyable for a lot of people. So doing that is Shreya mark, which is so always you need to discriminate. Will I choose Shreya mark, which is just pleasant, and Shreya which is good. Actually, Lord Krishna says whatever tastes good in the beginning will turn out to be poison at the end. Whatever turns out to be better or bad in the beginning will turn out to be good. And even simple things like discipline or in the diet or exercise, your meditation, spiritual practices, it need commitment, hard work. But ultimately, you will derive the benefit. But other things I've seen even my friends who have not, people, they do the wrong path, these sense pleasures, at the end they have to suffer. So you better choose the right, right wolf.
That's in Dhyana Vahini Swami kind of talks about
the Shreya mark, the Preya mark. And this is in Kathopanishad, people who want to refer. This is a discussion between Yamaraja, god of death, and Nachiketa. Nachiketa was a young boy, but he was a seeker of truth. He tells that. Okay, so we'll continue next week.